it's been a weird season for Liverpool, but they looked like their old selves in the second half, and probably they felt when they walked off at the end that they should have won the game. So there's that question. I mean, Arsenal, it is a big test. They've got another one. They've got to go to Newcastle. I saw Newcastle at Brentford. They are playing terrifically at the moment. Not in the first half, but they turned the game around, changed the tactics. They won. Arsenal have got to go there as well, and they've got to go to Manchester City, a midweek game in 2 weeks' time. So City do have this opportunity to cut this 6-point gap now, and that's why the bookmakers are making them favourites.
Yeah, the bookies don't have Arsenal as favourites anymore. Have you changed your mind on that?
No, I'm going to stick with them because, as Ian said, yes, there are some big hurdles to get over. But they've faced adversity this season more than once before. I mean, after the loss to Everton, they were losing at Aston Villa away from home. They left it late with the Jorginho sort of equalised his first goal from the club as they pushed and pushed and pushed, and then Martinelli got the third. I thought that was a big statement. There had been even the Bournemouth game at home when they were losing against a team threatened with relegation, came back with that late goal from Reece Nelson. So they've faced adversity before, but I understand a lot of people out there, because of the performance in the second half, just automatically think that this Arsenal team are going to fold. And I just don't see it that way. I mean, they did not play well at Liverpool against one of Liverpool's better performances, and there's not been many this year, but one of Liverpool's really on-song second half. And yes, Salah missed a penalty, but they were a few minutes away from taking 3 points. And you can't play well all the time. So I'm sticking with Arsenal. I think it's going to be tight, and obviously it's a blow for them. But they've picked themselves off the canvas before this season, and whilst they're not on the canvas after that game, they're certainly on the ropes a little bit.
You sticking with them, Shaka?
I am. But only just. As Ian mentioned, they have to go to both Manchester City and Newcastle. Newcastle, a very difficult place to go at the best of times when the team is playing this well, doubly so. But they entertain Chelsea and Brighton at the Emirates, and I think that is huge in terms of them being at home in two of their toughest tests. City also have to go to Brighton, and everything we've seen of Brighton shows how good a team they are. And then because of City's success and all the clubs in Europe, they can't even put the Brighton game into the fixture. So now I wonder, as City's season goes on, if they get through against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and then they have 2 more dates in Europe to somehow fit in, City will be playing every single weekend and midweek. They may even have to double up on the midweeks to get it all in before the end of the scheduled season. And I think that comes back to catch up with them. Even if City beat Arsenal at the Etihad, I just don't see them going perfect otherwise. So I feel Arsenal get over the line, but only...
I think Arsenal going out against Sporting Club was now a blessing, really. City have the Champions League, huge games, as Shaka mentioned, Bayern Munich, and they are going to be epic, you would imagine. They're still in the FA Cup, albeit it's almost a gimme. They have Sheffield United at Wembley, so you'd imagine that's not going to be too taxing. So you factor in an FA Cup final as well, potentially semi-finals of the Champions League, potentially. And so it's a really busy schedule, where Arsenal, they went out to Sporting Club, which was a little bit of a surprise in the end in the Europa League. And now they have nothing. They have the Premier League to focus on. There's enough time for rest, and they just gear themselves up for the rest of the season. Yeah, there's arguments for both sides, but no doubt City's schedule is not going to be an easy one.
Can I just add, because Craig touched on it earlier. Earlier this week we were talking about the 95-96 season, and many people thought that the season swung on the Liverpool game, the 4-3 at Anfield, and I said no, it was Manchester United coming to St James's Park. Peter Schmeichel, what I maintain is the best goalkeeping display I've witnessed with my own 2 eyes, won them that title. I will always say Peter Schmeichel won them that title in 95-96. If Arsenal go on to win this league, I will always say Aaron Ramsdale won them the league with that performance, particularly in the second half, particularly in the closing few.
So it's Peter Schmeichel won that title for United. You didn't lose it for Newcastle.
No, I didn't lose it. Peter Schmeichel absolutely won it.
Yeah.
I checked the tapes.
And he should know. Ian, who have you got? Man City or Arsenal winning it?
I think if Manchester City keep on playing the way they're playing, they're going to win the title. But the boys have raised a very good issue there, really. They're crowded fixture list, and as good as they are and as deep as their squad is, if they are playing, they've got an FA Cup semi-final, probably an FA Cup final, maybe a run all the way to the Champions League final as well. So it is a tough schedule, but I think they've really moved into a higher gear now. They're frightening to watch, really, the way they're playing at the moment. They're banging in 3 and 4, and I saw them when they banged 7 past Leipzig. So if they carry on in this mood, I think they're pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, let's get back to the game then and some of the moments in it, because we're going to welcome in.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.